All right, what's going on, guys? It's GSR here. So, I wanted to talk to you guys today about Mortal Kombat 12. So, apparently, it's been confirmed over a phone call with WB or some shit like that, from my understanding, which is kind of a weird way to reveal a game, but it is what it is. It's confirmed. I was really hoping it was going to be like Marvel versus like DC or some shit like that, like another Injustice game. I would rather see that instead. That would be crazy as hell if they were trolling this whole entire time, claiming it's Mortal Kombat, and then you see like fucking DC versus like Marvel. That'd be some funny ass shit. I'll bust out laughing. Motherfuckers would be so mad. Oh my god, no. But anyway, enough with that joking around shit. So let's get to the main point. So casually, I feel really optimistic about another Mortal Kombat game, and my expectations are super high on the casual side, but on the competitive side, my expectations is low, and I'm not feeling too optimistic about it because NRS lately with these recent installments like MK9, MKX, MK11, which you're currently seeing on your screen right now, they're not that impressive competitively. So I guess I'm just gonna talk about things that we don't really need in Mortal Kombat 12, and this is just my opinion. Other people may feel differently about it, or whatever the case may be. Just let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. So let's talk about zoning, right? Like characters have access to projectiles and stuff like that. I feel like projectiles need to clash. I really hope in the next installment they decide to make projectiles clash. I think projectiles are a little too fair. Like a prime example is like Cabal's projectile. Like his projectile will knock you down, which doesn't make any sense because projectiles don't even clash, so that makes it even worse. And then on top of that, like the opponent could like stay far away from you if they have the health lead. Like you see my health compared to his, like I could stay away and just keep zoning him and then making him create certain areas, and it's like he has a difficult time getting in. And I'm not saying there's not ways of getting in, but it's just like when projectiles are not necessarily clashing, it's breaking the neutral. So I think they need to take some notes from Street Fighter. I think another thing is that they need to make it to where uh, Sub Zero's projectile is just like his Injustice 2 projectile. I don't really understand why they reverted it back to the original projectile where he can just freeze you. I mean that's a terrible trade. Like you could spin a bar, right, and hit him twice in the face with a projectile, and like because projectiles don't clash, like his trade will be better than yours, right? So you're left frozen. He'll take like two hits to the face, whatever character that you're using, or the chest, or the legs, or whatever the hell your character does, and he can make himself a sandwich and and grab him a cold beer. You know what I'm saying? With some Lay's chips or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And then walk up to you and then mix your shit. So yeah, that's all I really gotta say about the projectile shit. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Why projectiles are problematic in NRS fighting games. Anybody with logic and common sense, especially from a competitive background, can understand why I would say something about projectiles. Now, we're going to talk about the Fatal Blow system real quick. I think this is pretty self-explanatory as well. I've made it very clear back in the past how I personally feel towards the Fatal Blow system. I think it was poorly implemented inside of this game. I think the forgiveness of the Fatal Blow system when you're getting your ass kicked is ridiculous. It needs to cost resources for you to use the Fatal Blow. If you whiff it, if the opponent blocks it, your Fatal Blow should be gone and you should lose resources. You chose to go for your strongest option. You understand what I'm saying? Like your strongest move, basically, and that shit needs to go. If your character is able to cancel for like pressure or to get more damage, that shit needs to be canceled. A prime example is my nigga Johnny Cage. I've been saying this shit the entire time that you know what I'm saying, that he needs to lose his Fatal Blow the moment he fucking cancels that shit. Instead, you can keep using it for clutch moments, and it's just kind of like it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not gonna talk too much about the Fatal Blow system. You guys get the idea. But two more things I want to talk about it real quick though. The pushback on these Fatal Blows are ridiculous. They might call it a Fatal Blow again. The reason why I say that is because in MKX, MK9, they call it X-Ray. In Injustice 1 and 2, they call it a super move or whatever they call it. Or ultimate move is whatever they call it. So they might call it Fatal Blow again. It might be the same name, which I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is that they need to have some form of a startup animation like Injustice 1 and 2 where like like it shows that the player's going for this move, because this quick highlight shit with all this white outline, flashy shit, it doesn't really help because some of these characters' fatal blows are ridiculously fucking fast. Like Jax's fatal blow, Liu Kang's, like, I mean, you barely could react to it. You understand what I'm saying? Um, Especially when you're playing online, like that shit is mad annoying. I'm not saying that you can't punish fatal blows, but it's like that pushback is ridiculous. There's no need for that. I understand that you're going for your strongest move, and I understand there should be a little bit of block stun because, and some decent chip because you're going for like a move that costs resources and stuff like that. Now, if you decide to space it out, there should be a little bit of space between you and the player, but other than that, like they really need to like reinvent the fatal blow system because I really don't like how they put it in this game. It's too noobish, and I hate using that word because it sounds disrespectful to new players, or I feel like I'm disrespecting new players. But it's a very scrubbish fucking system that they got going on in this game. It's very casual, and it just takes out the competitive side, and it's just kind of like, okay. And then you also have to understand that there are fatal blows in the game that break the neutral to where like you're afraid to press a button. You know what I mean? And sometimes players can just YOLO it because it's like it ain't gonna cost you no resources. So then, like, if you punish them, you would have to go for like what I like to call a special combo to where like they can't break out of it. You understand what I'm saying? Because they'll have a defensive meter, and they'll just break out of this shit. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm talking about the fatal blow too long. So another thing we need to talk about is the forgiveness of the meter system. I highly dislike this meter system. However, there are certain things about it that are not bad to a certain degree. However, this rechargeable meter system is ridiculous. Like, if you're gonna have a meter system like this, I honestly believe that if I am attacking the opponent on block or I'm physically hitting them, I should build up a bar meter. Not only that, another thing is I miss it when you could hit the opponent first and you got a bar meter. That it just doesn't feel right in this game. Now, defensively, if you're taking damage and you're taking high damage like that and stuff like that, and you're blocking the opponent's attacks, it should build up your defensive meter, and that's just my personal opinion. It would be pretty interesting for them to reinvent it like that, and that's how you would build meter in this game. You know what I'm saying? As far as projectiles, you should be able to build meter to a certain degree, but they should like make it to where projectiles don't give you as much meter as like your normal attacks and shit like that. So that way people can't just stay away and keep spamming until they get another bar of meter. You understand what I'm saying? Now, aside from that, let's talk about the crushing blows, right? Crushing blows are a little bit too fair for certain characters like Liu Kang, Geras, Cabal. These characters have brain dead KBs, like their requirements are so brain dead. Their access to damages is way too easy, and they're already inherently strong in this game, which doesn't make any sense. Crushing blows on throws is a prime example. That is one of the stupidest ideas you could have ever put into a fighting game. You mean to tell me throws are 50-50s and they do significant amount of damage, and they are a big part of how this game is supposed to be played, because a lot of the time it's a strike throw mind game. And all of a sudden, you understand what I'm saying? Like, I tech the throw in the wrong direction, and now I'm panicking, especially if I'm going against Kung Lao that has by far the best mind game situations when it comes to the strike throw situation in the game. And you mean to tell me that his offense is not going to be like amplified, where like his offense is a lot stronger because you don't want to get hit with a throw that you can't break out of? And then on top of that, like, my nigga, like, you take combo damage. I mean, who the fuck wants to sit here all day and like deal with some shit like that? Like, that shit was mad annoying when I first started out, because if you guys look back at my beta videos or whatever, when this game first came out, I mentioned that shit and why I thought that was a fucking issue, because I thought that was weird as hell why they would add something like that, and I was hoping that they were going to patch it and fix it and stuff like that. If for the most part you should at least do 16%, but other than that, like, bro, that shit is ridiculous. Now, there are certain requirements on throws, like Shang Tsung's throw, Melina's throw, Rambo's throw, where like Shang Tsung has to morph back and then he can throw you. He'll get like 12% from what I remember, and he'll get like a pop-up combo. So I thought that was very interesting. So I didn't really necessarily I didn't really have a problem with that. However, you have to also understand this amplifies the opponent's offense, which can make them more intimidating to deal with in close range engagements, because you have to worry about them throwing you, and you're going to have to be able to tech the throw in the right direction. If not, then you're going to be getting thrown, and they can take advantage of that shit by hitting you with a forward throw all the time, because you think they're going to hit you with a back throw, and you kind of get the idea with that particular situation. Now, Rambo and Molina's throw, they had to do certain actions or like they had to like avoid being hit for like 10 seconds or some shit like that, right? And I thought that was weird because these characters are low tier. And I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's not going to be very common that you see that crushing blow coming out consistently because these characters are low tier. You have to keep that in mind. So I'm not. That doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they're low tier for certain reasons, either because of the lack of range, because they're damaged, because of matchup, situations and stuff like that. Like they get fucked up too easily, or like their mids can be low profile too much. Like a prime example is like Rambo's mids can be low profiled a little bit too much for like just simple pokes by a lot of different characters. Like it's a lot of shit that goes into that matchup shit if you really lab, like I did back in the past. But you kind of get the idea with the fatal blow system, and then like there are certain requirements that are just fucking stupid as hell. Like it doesn't make any sense. It's like they put no effort into it at all. Now let's talk about the customization shit in this game when you're customizing your variation. I thought it was pretty cool that they allowed people to do that. However, I did make a video talking about is this going to be problematic and stuff like that, and I went into full detail explaining like why this is probably going to be an issue, and I explained why this is going to be an issue. And sure enough, there are variations in this game that are just dumb as fuck. Like they're dumb as hell. You understand what I'm saying? And then on top of that, they restrict you from using certain moves, and they don't consider it tournament moves. Like you can't use it as a tournament move. It's just like, why take away the player's creativity? You know what I mean? Like it just does not make any sense. And then there are certain launchers that aren't even that good, or like the character really needs like this move to make this variation a lot better, and then they take it upon themselves to be like, oh, it costs 2 loadout points, and it's just like, bro, what are you doing? Also, the gear system, if they're gonna make a gear system in this game for each character, you need to make the gear system look a lot better, like Injustice 2 gear system, excuse me. I think their gear system was amazing in Injustice 2, and they need to take notes from their old game, because this shit is bland as fuck. Combat Elite skins aren't that great except for certain ones, like the Revenant skin ones. And that's just my opinion. Some of these skins are hella repetitive, just different colors and shit like that. What else is there? The defensive options, right? Defensive options are fucking retarded as hell in this game. Now, I think I made a video before. I could be wrong, but I'm going to say it right now. I made a video before talking about what they could possibly do if they decide to reintroduce this system that they have with the defensive options. They need to have it to where each character has at least like a normal and a special move or something like that, or a combo string or something, where they can go for this thing called OTG, right? And for people who don't know what that means, it means off the ground. Meaning like you can hit the opponent when they're on the ground, right? And depending on what option they go for, you know what I mean, you could be able to do something like that, depending on like, what they go for. You know what I mean? Like say for example, like your forward one with Kotal Khan beats out like the backwards roll or something like that, and then they automatically start standing up. Some type of off the ground type shit. I haven't really thought about it all the way through, but it would be pretty interesting to see them do something like that. Now, when it comes to the breakaway system, they need to take this type of breakaway system away, because you have certain armor breaking special moves or normals that are really good to a certain degree, and then you have other ones that are just dumb as fuck, or they're just not useful at all for the character. So you're better off just going for a down 2 and that's it. So they really need to like sit down and really think about this shit, you know what I mean? Be like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do here is like I'm just gonna reinvent this shit, you know what I mean? The forward roll mechanic, that needs to go. Offense is not necessarily oppressive in this game like it is in MKX or MK9, and for some weird reason they thought it was a good idea to put it in this game. Even if they put it in MKX or MK9, that still would be problematic, because all it takes is one mistake for the opponent to be overly aggressive in MKX or MK9 and you're possibly dead. Another thing is like they need to reinvent the combo system. I highly dislike the combo system in this game. It's very boring. It's annoying because the combos are hella repetitive. It's not that creative. You're doing the same repetitive shit over and over again. I do like the fact that Mortal Kombat 11 is a more vanilla version. It's not as chaotic, and it's a little bit slower paced to a certain degree, and I do like that. However, they lied to the community about this game being based around complete neutral and footsies and all this bullshit, and then you have like, and I'm not saying there's no footsies to a certain degree or no neutral that can be played, but when you have projectiles not clashing, and when you have like fuck neutral moves, and you have like special moves like Fujin, Gearus, and Jackie Briggs breaking neutral either by running into the air or flying in the fucking air like LeBron James or some shit, and you got like Gearus conditioning you to block low. It's like it just destroys the competitiveness out of the game. And I'm not saying like I said, I'm not saying like there's no neutral that's in this game, because there definitely is. However, it's like they said like this game's gonna be based around footsies and neutral, and mix-ups aren't really going to dictate a match. However, what are you looking at right now? You're seeing two characters that have mix-ups. When Scorpion and Sonya Blade and Aaron Black were back in their prime, these characters were unbelievably overused. And then they come out with Shiva, and you have Sub-Zero, mixing people's shit up. I mean, you're literally playing MKX at its finest. It's just like, what the fuck am I playing right now? You know what I'm saying? And then certain characters need an overhaul. Like, I mean, the list is very fucking long, bro. And I'm really hoping with this new installment, they really take notes from this fucking bullshit-ass game competitively. And I talk about Mortal Kombat on a competitive side. Casual side, it's whatever. You know what I mean when it comes to me, right? But competitively, it destroys my drive to want to actually lab and dedicate some of the time. Especially when I'm, working and I'm in college and shit like that. Like, dude, it's like I'll look at this game and I'll just like, you know what? I'll just pick a character, I'll lab a little bit, learn probably like a few combos, and then I'm getting online, and then I'm just gonna play. I don't even care. And like I said, you can't even tell who's good and who's not unless you watch certain YouTubers that are known in the FGC or some shit like that. Like, you already know this player is good. You can't completely tell. You understand what I'm saying? Because the skill gap is like, it's small, because you can't really tell. Like a regular nigga like this can seem very problematic, but you see how like I turned up the heat a little bit and I spaced his ass out and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just I don't know, man. Like, it's just, I'm really hoping that they also make the roster back to a classic roster where we have like Rico or Rico or however you say his name. I would really love to see him in the game. Havoc, Smoke, Sector, Cyrex, because they said characters in the story mode will be playable except for Chronica. However, where's the fucking cyborgs at? Instead, you turned Frost into a cyborg, which I find highly disrespectful. So, like I said, man, the Flawless Box system. Let's talk about that real quick, because I don't have a lot of time. Flawless Box system. I don't mind the Flawless Box system. I think that this is a really good system. However, they need to redo this Flawless Box system. It's a little too fair on certain characters, and then other characters is like, what the fuck? Prime example is Johnny Cage and Cabal, especially Cabal. Nigga has no flawless spot gaps at all, yet the nigga can just do whatever he wants when he wants, and it's just complete and utter stupidity. I would be one of the greatest Cabal players in the world too if I'm out here, you know what I'm saying? Not being able to get flawless block. You're not even following the rules of the flawless block mechanic. Like I said, it's just so many layers. You guys can look up the videos about how I feel about the flawless block mechanic. I went into complete detail explaining what the issues are with the flawless block mechanic. So I hope they do return the flawless block mechanic. That's just my opinion. Hopefully you guys are doing well out there. I'm really hoping that they make the game good competitively, because if not, I'm going to Street Fighter, bro, and I'll just do combos and labbing, the new Mortal Kombat game, and give you guys intel on certain shit or whatever, and then I'm moving on, bro. I'm moving on to bigger and better things, and that's just my opinion. But you guys let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. What would you like to see in Mortal Kombat 12? Hopefully they do some shit, but I feel slightly optimistic, and I have hope and interest that they will come out and do a great job and stuff like that. But peace out.